All right, it's time for the review of Block 1, and we split the games. So, not bad. Both games on the road. We get a road win against Boise, Coach IROC, dealing with the monster that is Ashton Genty. And then we get beat down at Duke. Man, my first game on the road in a power conference, and it definitely showed because once Duke got the momentum, it felt like we were playing in the swamp. So, lesson learned. Probably have to adjust some play calling and stuff. When momentum gets bad, special teams didn't help. We had a couple of drop TDs that definitely could have swung the momentum back in our favor, at least kept it in our favor given the way the game started. We were up 7-0. Lesson learned, gotta be a little more cautious with the play calling. Can't do stuff to help the tidal wave get bigger. I don't really know how else I could describe that, but have to be more conscious when you're on the road. At home, you can get away with some stuff. On the road, you can't. Got to be more selective in your play calling and execution. So, lesson learned. But 1-1, block 2, we'll have Maryland and Purdue. Two coaches that I have played before, played Maryland and Coach T Wade a couple of seasons ago when I had Western Michigan, the first season back on the the NDL's return, close game, and then Outlaw. I am 1-2 against him, so he's had my number. We'll see if we can return the favor. But the key thing, both of those games are at home, so I'm very hopeful that maybe we can get a little boost from playing at home. It'll be nice. It helped against Florida, but hopefully it'll help us in the regular season. But we're not here to talk about block 2. We're here to talk about block 1. Look at some stuff. So, in terms of statistics, everything is blank right now, or most things are blank right now. No, the team stats are put in, so that looks a little bit odd. Maybe we go back to home and we go pull the numbers because the team stats should be in there. Yeah, you can see against Coach IROC, we had 300 yards on offense, gave up 305. The run game was hell, 218 yards still. We rushed for 98. More first downs, total yards with the returns, that helped a little bit too. But the key thing were the splash plays. 4 turnovers by Boise. He did have 2 sacks in the game. We did not, I don't believe, I have to look. I want to say we did have a sack. I thought we had a sack fumble. Third down's not great. He was better, but at the end of the day, we did what we had to do defensively, enough of it at least to make plays. So looking at the player stats, yeah. Mensa, 2 incompletions in this game. You can't ask for more efficiency there. 12 of 14, 2 TD passes, 218 yards. Hughes, 98 yards on the ground, 22 carries. Definitely not what we saw with Sanders, but Boise State obviously is going to have a better defense than a lot of the Mountain West teams. So, yeah. And the key thing, Brown. So Williams, 3 for 61, loved that. But Brown, loved that he had a big play. He had 2 touchdowns. So getting production from both of our, starting receivers, I'll take that. And then defensively, Machado had quite the game. 7 tackles, 2 for a loss, a sack, 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. He did work. Ransaw, 8 tackles, a pick, defensive touchdown. Huntington recovering one of the fumbles and scoring on that. We did not get a ton of pressure on the pass plays, but Machado was able to blow one of them up. We'll take that. And then kicking, cool. The other side, though, Genty, man, 218 yards. We did everything we could to try to slow this man down. The key thing, though, that right there, those 2 fumbles, that helped us out a lot. He was hell to deal with. Bottom line, definitely driving me nuts, as he's going to probably do for a lot of people. And then the defense had 2 sacks for Boise. So that's how that game went, since the team stats aren't showing up. At Duke, Well, that would be a painful one. The player stats are there, so that's good. I want to pull up the stats for this other game, so we'll go back here and do it. Then we'll look at some more detailed stuff. So the Duke game, definitely not as good offensively. So we had more yards than we did against Boise, 410 by necessity because we were losing, 331 allowed. Rushing, 112 for Duke, 82 for us. Passing, 328 for us, 219 for them. We had more first downs, more return yardage. We kind of had to. So a lot of yards. Defensively, the key though, the other stuff, turnovers. He had 3, I had 4 picks, the fumbles, but it didn't matter. Turnover difference was 1, but it did not make a big difference in the game. It's not so much the number, it's the context of when and how they happen. Third down, better than we were against Boise, but again, context. When does it matter? Player stats in this one, definitely telling and what was difficult for us. Mensa, not as good, 22 for 41, 328 yards in the air, 4 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Hughes did have over 100 yards, less than 20 touches in that one, so I do like that. Longest run was 16, so it wasn't the big play, really. It was steady yardage. I'll take that. The key thing in this game, though, were the drops, because that really slowed us down and took some points off the board. 5 drops registered, but there were others that were not caught that were not considered drops. Like it touched there. To me, I don't know, if it touches your hands, I'd like to think that that's in most cases would be a drop, but we could not hold on to a lot of balls. Once the momentum got going, we just had a drop fest going on, and it made it tough to get any momentum on the offensive side of the ball. But even with that said, Williams, 77 yards, he gets 2 TDs, so more productive in this game than he was last game. Brown, 9 catches for 93 yards. Really liking what Brown's doing. Can trust him. He's not an impact player, but his production seems to be the case. Fleming, well, he had a big catch in the first half, but that drop total, he's a big culprit. But everyone played a role in it. Drops definitely did not help. On the other side for Duke, Murphy, 16 for 21. Good completion percentage, 2 TDs, 1 pick. Thomas, 73 yards on the ground. Moore, 35 on the ground. And then Hagens was able to get free an awful lot, 126 yards on 7 receptions. He had 2 TDs in the game. Offensive line, ours was not great. A lot of pressure, a lot of guys in Mensa's face. Did not help. So the offensive line is going to have to get better. Machado, though, solid game, 8 tackles, 2 for a loss. One thing I do like here, Jenkins, he had 3 tackles, but 2 for a loss. He is getting in the backfield. I do like to see that because that's something that I did not get to see a lot at New Mexico. So we'll see once we get into conference play how that looks. And do get 2 forced fumbles. We recovered 2. So if you're keeping track, we forced, I believe, 5 fumbles and recovered 4. Regression to the mean is going to hit hard. Special teams, big culprit in the game for us. 2 drives in the red zone, and we come away with no points. Sure, we could have had a touchdown on both drives, but did not even get the 3 points. Definitely made things a nightmare in that game, or in this game. And then defensively for Duke, you can see 2 guys splitting a sack and a half. Morris with a pick 6. Multiple picks, multiple passes defended. Just tough sledding for us on offense once the second quarter got going. Once we had those 2 drives where we couldn't score, things just got out of hand. So collectively, looking at the team stats through the 2 games, Mensa, 34 for 55, completion percentage of 61. Definitely would like to see that go. It's not terrible, but in college, you like to see a higher number. 546 yards. So if I remember correctly, it took to the very end of the season for Dampier to get 1,000 yards passing, which is insane because I'm a pass first guy. That's how difficult it was passing the ball at New Mexico. Much, much better this time. This has to change though. 4 TDs, 4 interceptions. I'd like to see the TDs at a much, it has to be a better ratio. Otherwise, it's going to be a rough season. Hughes, 100 yards basically per game. I like that. Hoping for at least 80, but it's going to depend on the flow of the game and how the passing game is going too. 2 TDs for him. In the receiving game, I'm sure Brown will get more attention going forward, but he leads the team in receptions, doubling up everybody else. He's got 12 catches for 176. He has 2 touchdowns, but also Williams has 2 touchdowns too. It's not like we're not looking for him, but Brown, like, you got to throw to the guy that's open. Brown has been the guy so far. Other guys have chipped in. Actually, that will be why. I have Mekhi Williams and Mario Williams, so I'm going to have to fix that. So really, if you combine those, that's 6 catches for 138 yards. See, I'm screwing my own guy over. So with me, I'll fix that shortly. Offensive line, Graham looking good, 7 pancakes. Hurst, probably going to keep an eye on him a little bit more because he seems to be struggling in pass protection, so maybe we chip on that side or we move away, like kind of slide the pocket away. I'll have to figure that out. Defensively, Machado, definitely the star so far, 15 tackles. The numbers mostly from the first game, but pretty good. Ransaw has a pick in both games. Got a couple of guys that are close to double-digit tackles already. Tackles for loss, Jenkins has 5, so he's working his way into the backfield. No sack, but he's definitely making his presence known. He's been able to pressure some throws. I got to see it against Florida, getting close enough to Lagway to affect the throws. Kicking, clearly this has to change. Need to get one in the middle of the field, can't be on the hash. And 2, also need to make sure that you make those kicks. You just can't leave points on the board. It never goes well. And then lastly, a new thing, the team sheet. Obviously, this is going to change an awful lot as we go forward in the season and more teams start to play games. We have to see. So just so people can take a look at this if you haven't seen it, you have my result in the games, points for, points against, the Massey rating of the opponent, what quadrant they're in, their offensive ranking, their defensive ranking. Then down here you have the opponent win percentage. Further down you have the opponent's Massey rating. You see the result underneath. And then their offensive rating, their defensive rating. Really, really cool. And again, this is stuff that'll change throughout the course of the entire season. But then on the right side, you've got the strength of schedule, my opponent's average strength of schedule, and then the total. Then you've got my offensive power rating, my opponent's, the played, and the total. You've got the defense, the power ranking, power played by my opponents, and then the total. And then you have my opponents. So the record of the cumulative record of all of my opponents, their percentage, win percentage, the average Massey rating of the teams that I played so far of the entire schedule, are what quadrant in terms of the talent of the team are they in, 1 through 4, top 10, top 25, top 50, ranked games, unranked games versus power 4 teams versus group of 5. So you're talking about when we get down to the nitty gritty and we're talking about what teams are going to be playoff teams, this is a huge help. Like, you could not ask for more information than this. Home record, home field advantage, away record, home field advantage played, and then scoring, points for, points against, and average result. Pretty cool. Quad 1, quad 2, 3, and 4. So you can see how it's separated: 1 through 25, 26, 45, 46, 75, and then 76 to 134. for home, and then away 1-40, 41-67, 68-95, and 96-134. I'm really curious to see. I know this got added in last season, and I really want to see how this is going to manifest as we go forward. But looking forward to seeing how things go in Block 2. So looking at it really quick. Maryland, a win for Maryland. They beat Michigan State 31-21. It's the only game that they have played so far, so a nice win at home. And then Purdue played one game so far, a 1-point win at home against Washington State and the NDL Media God. So our opponents are both 1-0. We've already had a loss. Hopefully we can try to help bring them into the loss column too. We'll see. Block 2 is going to be really important because we have to come out of this block ideally 2-2. I mean, ideally 3-1, but it can be worse than 2-2 because you don't want to miss your win goal just with your out of conference schedule. Just for confidence, it hurts, and it would help to at least have a loss in your pocket going into conference play. There's still going to be some tough coaches and tough opponents there. You don't want to be super stressed out from the very beginning. So we'll have to see how it goes. But let me go ahead and fix Williams because I need to make sure that that is correct going forward.